afternoon, ladies. How are all of you? I hear that Lorna was speaking to you in Afrikaans, so I hope you understand English, because you would laugh if I spoke Afrikaans. It would be a comedy show instead of a social media talk. So I can understand in Afrikaans, so if you want to ask me a question, you can ask in Afrikaans, and if I don't understand, I'll tell you honestly. So I did Miss South Africa 5 years ago, and I came third and won the title of second princess in Miss South Africa, but I actually started pageants when I was 13 years old. And I started them because I actually lacked self-confidence. And even though I was a confident child with my friends, when I had to get up and say a speech in class, or when I did Girl Guides, I don't know if any of you have done Girl Guides, but I had to do a talk, and I was terrible at it. I ummed and ahed the whole way through, and my poor mother was watching me, cringing and thinking, oh my goodness, we had prepped her and she's terrible. And my mum said after that I needed to try and enter a beauty pageant in my school and see if I could actually achieve anything. Fortunately, that beauty pageant, I didn't have to say anything. So I was actually okay. I just had to walk and smile and look pretty. And then the second competition I entered the following year, I had to walk on stage and introduce myself. How hard can that be? And I walked on, and I looked out into the audience, and I couldn't say anything. The words just did not come out of my mouth. And I was like, and I walked off stage. And I gave up my chance of doing well in that competition. Plus the fact that it had been in front of my entire high school, it was rather embarrassing for me. But I resigned myself to the fact that I would give it a try the following year. And the following year, I really prepped, and I prepped, and I prepped, and I prepped in front of the mirror. And I told my friends what I was going to say, and everybody was encouraging to me. And so I walked on, and I swung my hair around, which was down to my bum, and I swung it around, and I said my name, and I strutted my stuff, and I walked off. But I knew just before I walked on that it was going to take me 15 seconds to walk on stage, introduce myself, and walk off. I only had to be confident for 15 seconds. That's all I needed, to be my most courageous for 15 seconds. And that was okay. I could do that. I could pull from that well of courage for 15 seconds. And then I got through to the finals. Then I had to walk on stage for half a minute in casual wear, then a minute in informal wear. I only had to be courageous for that amount of time. And I ended up winning the competition. So what I want to just say to you before I start the social media, that if any of you feel nervous, and I'm sure all of you will feel nervous before you actually have the finals, I want you just to remember that. How long am I actually going to have to be out there to perform? And I'm going to pull from my well of courage for that amount of time. That is all that is required of you when you are out there in front of the judges. And you can do that. I promise you. It has helped me all through my life. When I went to do my driver's license, I'm out there driving with the driver for 20 minutes. So all I need is to be courageous for 20 minutes. And I would say, right, you can do it. And I would psych myself up for that 20 minutes. And I passed it first time. My brother failed it 7 times. I passed it first time. He always used to brag that he was a better driver. I was like, no ways. So just remember that all through your life, when you need to be courageous, whether you're going for an interview, for a job, or university, or you have to go talk to the headmaster about something that isn't working, I just need to be courageous for this amount of time. And it actually helps you to have some perspective, that you don't need to be brave your whole life and for every single minute. You can't do that, it's impossible. But when it really matters, you can, and you will. Okay, I'm going to put my glasses on, otherwise I can't see anything more. What happened when I turned 40? I had to start wearing glasses. Okay, so social media, we all know it. Who is on social media? I think I should rather ask who isn't on social media. Okay, who's on Instagram? Facebook? Okay, I'm surprised that so many of you are even on Facebook. They say Facebook's for old people. We all love it though. Who's on Snapchat? Okay, all right. Anyone with a YouTube account? We're getting there. Okay, all right. What I want you to tell me, I'm just going to take 5 of you. Give me 5 positives from social media that you have found in your life. What does it do for you?
You can connect to others that you don't see others.
Absolutely, it keeps you connected, right?
Friendships.
Yep.
If you have a thing you like dancing, for instance, you can advertise yourself to other people. You can see
Yes.
posting photos of you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And you can keep in touch with family that's like overseas.
Far away, absolutely. And see what they're doing every day, like they were next door. Yeah. Last one? Come on, ladies. Yes, opportunity. Yes, I like that. Absolutely. Right, so we're going to talk about our positives first, and then we're going to go on to the negatives of social media, which I'm sure you're also very well aware of, and I hope you are. Technology allows us to be more mobile. So as you get older, you'll see this, but with work, you're not confined to an office anymore. You can actually work at the side of the pool while you're tanning, because no one actually has to know if you're answering your email from your phone or from your desk. You can go onto social media and you can promote your business and do your marketing from anywhere in the world. And it allows us to be more mobile. We also don't have to take phone calls from home or the office. When we were growing up, if you drove somewhere, you phoned someone first to say, okay, I'm leaving the house now, I'll see you in 25 minutes. And if you didn't arrive in 25 minutes, they then called the police to look for you. But nowadays, we can track you. You can say to your friend, I'm leaving, and she can follow you on your live location all the way and make sure that you don't deviate from that road and that you're safe. It allows us to go places and to be in communication wherever we are. That is very, very much a positive. It can be a negative when you want a little bit of privacy and you don't want everyone to know your business, but it is a positive for us, especially in South Africa, that we are safe. You can hear me, hey, without the mic. All right. It also helps to bridge the social gap and bring people together. People you may not ordinarily have liked, for instance. Maybe they are part of a dance group, and you haven't spoken to them in school. Maybe they're 3 grades ahead of you, but you see they follow the same dance group as you, and you start to interact on social media. And the next minute, the age gap doesn't matter. The grades don't matter. You are friends, and you've gotten to know each other. Okay. You can stay in touch with friends and family on a daily basis, and you can see everything that they're doing, and you can share the things that you want to share with them too. It gives everyone an equal voice. Everyone has equal opportunity to share their opinions and their feelings on social media. It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter where you live or what language you speak. You are allowed to voice your opinion. It's not like in a company where the director has to speak for you. You could speak for yourself. But very importantly, if you are representing a brand, like you are representing the Miss Heart Beer Sport, you have to align what you put on social media with that brand. So in the Mrs. South Africa, for instance, if we were to post ourselves in a political t-shirt, for instance, that wouldn't be aligning ourselves with the Mrs. South Africa brand, because they are politically neutral and they pride themselves on that. They don't have a specific religion that they follow. They don't have a specific political party that they endorse. And as the entrants, we are allowed to, as South Africans, have our own choices. So therefore, because we're Mrs. South Africa, we cannot only represent one political party, for instance. So if you go out there and you're in a rally, you would be going against the brand. So when you're involved with a brand, you've got to be conscious not to say something that doesn't align and stay along with that same brand. It gives businesses, big or small, the same opportunities. There used to be there is still a page, but it's not as well known anymore, called Hello Pizza, where people could go and write about bad service on Hello Pizza. So you would go to Mr. Price and you would buy a t-shirt that was damaged, and you would go onto Hello Pizza and write, oh, terrible quality products from Mr. Price. And Mr. Price would have to pay in excess of 5,000 to 10,000 Rand to reply to you and say, we're very sorry that you got a damaged t-shirt from our Four Ways branch. We will replace it. They would have to pay to reply to your complaint. That is how Hello Pizza, the site, made its money. That's ludicrous. So a big company would say, oh, it's only 10,000 Rand, we can reply. But a smaller company couldn't afford to reply. And if they then have this negative email about them and they can't respond to it, it looked even worse. Now on Facebook, it doesn't matter how big or small your company is, you can communicate with your clients and your customers. So social media has been very positive in that respect as well. It also gives us insight as customers and consumers that we are allowed to see what company is good and what company is bad easily on social media. Think about what's happened with Woolies. Does anybody know what happened with Woolies recently?
The mice.
Which one?
The mice. They now was the other.
Please don't tell me that was Woolworths. So they're not either, okay?
No, pig.
It was a pig. It's okay. But I did see that there were flowers and checkers over the December holidays and people were moaning about that. But no, Woolworths stole an idea from a small company. A lady, it's the third time they've done this. A lady produced a baby carrier that you can carry a baby on your chest or on your back. And she researched for about 3 years to be able to produce this baby carrier that was perfectly safe and comfortable for a newborn baby. She was selling it at quite a high price because it was manufactured here in South Africa, which costs a lot of money. And she was selling it online. She was doing very well. It was called the Ubuntu carrier. Woolworths bought, through her website, 2 Ubuntu carriers and had them delivered to head office, where they then copied her design and produced her baby carriers in China at a much cheaper price and started selling them at like a third of the cost. What that did to that woman who had researched for all these years and had developed a product, a quality product in South Africa, it put her out of business. And that is unfair. That's a David and Goliath story. Well, she won. She got onto social media and she told her story. She showed photos of her baby carrier and she showed photos of the Woolworths baby carrier. She showed how they had copied every single stitch, every line, every padding that she had put in there, they had copied. She had records on her website of the purchases from Woolworths head office. She could prove that they had stolen her idea. And what did Woolworths do? Nothing. They did nothing until she put it on social media. So she emailed them first and they did nothing. Then she went to Facebook and it was shared hundreds of thousands of times. And consumers who shop at Woolworths said no more. This is the 3rd time you've done this to a small company and we are not going to support you anymore if you do this. They had to remove, within a week, they had to remove their baby carrier and promise never to sell it again. They had to publicly apologize. What they should have done is bought her carriers and put them into their stores and supported a South African small business. But they haven't yet. But that was a true David and Goliath story because she was one woman and she won. And she only won through the power of social media. Okay. Social media provides us access to information as well, quick and easy. Now this week something happened where in Zimbabwe, there's a lot of trouble in Zimbabwe, I don't know if you've heard about it, but they have cut access to the internet and to WhatsApp from all these citizens. Which means that my family who lives in Bulawayo, I was born in Zimbabwe, my family who live in Bulawayo have not been able to tell us if they're okay, if they've been attacked, if they're alright, if they need food, whatever. There are 2.5-hour queues to get into Spa. Can you imagine having to stand on the road for 2.5 hours to go and buy bread and milk, and then you get there and they're sold out, and there's no more being brought in. It's a big problem, and Zimbabwe know that it's a big problem. They don't want the rest of the world to know what's going on, so they cut access off. In China, you're not allowed Facebook, and you're not allowed access to the internet around the world. So if you go and visit China, we've had many beauty queens go to China to participate in international beauty pageants, and we cannot get WhatsApps or Facebook posts from them. They have to come back from the competition and then post. And what does that tell you? It tells you that your government's trying to control you, right? That you can't say, you don't have the freedom of speech, you don't have the freedom to tell the rest of the world if you need help. And that is where we are so lucky in South Africa that we have the most free constitution in the whole world that protects our rights in many different ways, but especially in our freedom of speech. The only thing we are not allowed to post, and that is illegal in this country, is hate speech. So we are not allowed to post anything prejudiced or anything that incites violence, but I will talk about that just now. Right. You're also able to gain more education from social media. If you want to know how to bake a banana bread and you don't know, what do? You Google. Thank you. There we go. But now Google's not enough because now I really have to think for myself. So I YouTube how to bake a banana bread, right? How many of you play games and YouTube videos of people playing games? I know it's not really a girl thing to do, hey? Ah, there we go. Yes, YouTubing games. My sons do it all the time. They sit and they watch people playing Fortnite while they're playing Fortnite, and I'm like, I don't understand it. You're using my data, guys. But they love it, and they do it themselves. Christian actually streams himself, and people watch him playing Fortnite. Anyway, the older generation often don't understand the new generation, so it's one of those things. But you can educate yourself so easily on social media. Just on Facebook, I'm sure all the moms will agree that you go onto Facebook and you get streams and streams of information that gets sent to you, and you see a cake and you're like, oh, I have to try that. So you save that and you print it out and you make that cake. There's information overload. We're getting it all the time. But it's enlightened us. It's helped us to grow. News content, being able to see what's going on as it happens. You know, when we didn't have social media in those days, but we had news, like news24.co.za, and I was sitting at my desk. This is 2001, and my phone rang, and it was my husband, and he said, get to a TV. I said, I can't get to a TV. He said, get online. You've got to get the news. He said, a plane has just hit one of the Twin Towers in New York City. And I couldn't get to a TV to watch. And I went onto News24, and I kept having to refresh the page, and it kept refreshing new news. And as I was on the phone to my husband, he was watching the TV, and he said, oh, another plane's gone into the second tower. He was watching it right live. I was getting updates as I was refreshing, getting the news. I mean, it was a terrible day. Every single person who was alive at that time will know where they were the minute that happened. And nowadays, we can live stream. We can get information as it happens. In those days, we had to refresh. But in the old days, when we were kids, we'd have to get a newspaper the next day to get the news. Right. The other thing that I'm going to talk to you about in the positives of social media is that you can build a brand. You can build a brand for your business, but you can build a personal brand. And this is what's very important when we do competitions and have to get sponsorships. We have to build a brand around that spot to get sponsorships, and they're going to support those sponsorships. And then who knows what influencer marketing is?
That's the word.
That's your
Influencer.
Is that what
I
you're
put
trying
it
to do? Influencer, right. So, you don't have to have a huge following to become an influencer. An influencer is someone who can say, I use this shade of lipstick, and you go, I like it, and because she wears it, I want to go and buy it. Okay, so as a makeup artist and a photographer, I have a lot of followers that look up to me or that are interested and inspired by my work. So they follow me for that particular reason. I have many followers who follow me because I live in South Africa, or I have followers that just think I'm interesting, which I sometimes wonder why, but anyway. But when I post about makeup and I say I use this eyeshadow on this look, so I've taken a photograph, say I've taken a photograph of you, and I say I've used this particular eyeshadow and this lipstick from this company, people go, oh, where do you buy that? And then they go and buy it. That is what being an influencer is about. Now, because I have that, and I have the engagement, which is very important, so I have a lot of likes and I have a lot of comments on my posts, that shows the companies that people are really listening to what I'm saying. If I didn't get likes or comments, they would say, yeah, she posts, but who's looking? But because people are commenting, they're going, okay, people are listening to her opinion about makeup. So what happens is every now and again I get a lovely hamper delivered to me by a big makeup brand, and they say, please won't you just make a post? One post, and I've got a big set of makeup and a box, and I'm talking like a 3,000 range delivery, and I don't even know it's coming. I'm like, thank you very much, I'll have that. And I do a post and I say, this is what I'm using, and I will not post if I don't like it. Because I want my followers to realize that when I say I like something, I actually really do. Okay. Now that can happen with doing modeling, doing pageants, putting yourself out there on a platform. You can become an influencer. And you don't have to be of any age to do that. You will be an influencer within your age group, your community, and you can market products for those companies. So if you're out there looking for sponsorship, for instance, for I don't know, do they need sponsorship?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So if you, for instance, say Lorna arranges sponsorship for you and you win a prize from VW. It's a package, I don't know, just let's say that for instance. You then go on a fun driving course with VW and you post it on your social media. If your following is interested in what you're doing, that's advertising for VW. And you become an influencer. And companies are recognizing that youngsters, as young as 10 years old, are becoming influencers. There are makeup artists. There's a young boy in England. I think he's 12, and he is an avid makeup artist. He loves makeup. He's been on the Ellen DeGeneres show. He's been all over the world doing makeup. He has got hundreds of thousands of followers. And what happens? Makeup companies are throwing product at him. But not only that, is they're now paying him to post about their product. So they're giving him the product and they're paying him. Now if you've got 5,000 followers in this country, if you're clever, you can get 2,500 rand for a post with 5,000 followers.
Sure.
Okay, so that is how you become an influencer. It doesn't make you an expert. There is a big difference. A makeup artist is very different from a makeup influencer. So an influencer will do YouTube videos and tutorials and they will have a lot of following. Doesn't mean they can do makeup on anyone else but themselves. A makeup artist is a qualified person who studied it and works in that business on a daily basis. Okay, right. Now I want you to give me some negatives. Give me 5 negatives of social media, guys.
You can,
You go first. Bullying, yes.
like basically what you said, because you can basically hide the real you and make up a person that's not you and say negative stuff about other people.
Absolutely.
Bullying, yeah.
Absolutely. We call those keyboard warriors. They ugly people who post from their keyboard but they have no guts to stand up in
Say
person.
it to your face.
Yes. Okay.
People can stalk you and advertise products that are actually dangerous to you.
Absolutely. Yes. Anyone else?
Low self-esteem,
Definitely. Low self-esteem, but why?
because you see someone that looks like perfect, and
Yes.
it's just nothing.
Absolutely. It's a filtered existence. Please know that. What you see on social media is filtered. I will not post when I'm broke. I will not post when I am really not enjoying having a conversation with my husband, when he's really irritating me. I'm not going to post, my husband's irritating me. I just don't post about that day. I'll post a quote or something else to try and inspire myself. When I'm having a great day with my husband, then I'll take a photo and put it on Facebook. What does that tell the woman who's struggling with her husband? It's only me. Look at her, she's happy. We all do it, all of us. So please don't buy into the fact that what you see on social media is the full life. It's the edited version of that life. It is filtered. Imagine you've got like a sieve, you know, where you're sieving flour through the sieve. Only the good stuff's coming out, guys. The bad stuff's staying in the sieve. You are not going to post the bad stuff about your life. If you fail an exam, you're not going to be like, ooh, got 23% for history today. No ways. If you get 97 for science, you're like, yes, I got 97% for science. But now, you haven't posted the history one. Everyone's like, wow, she's real boss. It's so easy for her. She's so clever. But she's had to go home and tell her parents she got 23% for history. She doesn't tell you that. Okay. So when you see that, please don't buy into it. It's hard. I didn't go away in December this year, and I watched all my friends at the beach, overseas. They were either at Sugar Beach in Mauritius or they were at Sandomir, my 2 favorite places. I was like, really guys? Did you have to go to my places? It was hard. So you know what? I just decided, I'm not going to look for a couple of days. But then when I did look, I had perspective, and I could look and say, you know what, I'm happy for them. Because the times when I was on holiday, maybe they couldn't go on holiday. You don't know that. You think you're the only one that's going through stuff. Nonsense. You are not. They are just going through their time, and you're going through yours, and it shifts backwards and forwards, good and bad, easy and hard. Okay. Right. So we have fake news. First and foremost, guys, and this applies to the moms, very important because you're on Facebook. You need to remember, not everything you see on social media is real or true. There are some weirdos out there who make up the most amount of rubbish. I don't know why they do it. I think they've got some psychological problem because they will make news reports about Trump that are ludicrous. Oh, Trump said this. Oh, and everyone's getting so angry about him. And he never said it. There's no record of it. You can go onto you can go and Google it and it's not there. So if you see something that's fake and you think, let my common sense take control here. Does this sound real? And if it doesn't, if there's doubt in your mind, Google, did Trump say he's going to kill all the rabbits in America? There will be no record of him killing rabbits in America. Why? Because it's not real. So don't share it. The same applies to anything that's racist or prejudice. Look it up. Make sure it's real before you share it, because all that does is create anger and hate and ugliness between people. Another thing we always see is we see missing children. Now, it's a cause I cannot ignore. I see a missing child, I have to share it. But before I share that picture of that child, I open the photograph and I look at the comments. Often, 9 times out of 10, that child has been found and returned home. But her photo keeps getting circulated and circulated and circulated. Now, imagine you are naughty, right? And you've bunked school. And you have not come home by 4 o'clock, and your mother has phoned missing person South Africa because now she's panicked. And you returned home at 8 o'clock that night and you got into serious trouble with your parents. But your photo's out on social media. And for 3 years it circulates, missing child, missing child, missing child. You don't want that to happen. Firstly, don't do that to your mother, okay? Secondly, look before you share a post. Make sure it is legitimate and that it is still relevant. Is it still happening? Is the child missing? Is this person in trouble? Has the situation been resolved? Before you share. It is your responsibility what is shared on your social media. Okay, right. Another thing is reduced productivity. Who's supposed to be doing homework and is sitting on Snapchat? We all know it, bad. We're all guilty. I don't expect you to put your hands up and publicly announce it, but we are all guilty. I've been meant to be doing emails and I'm sitting on Facebook and I'm like, oh, an hour's gone by and I haven't answered my emails. It reduces our productivity. Every 12 seconds, the average person checks their phone. Every 12 seconds. And I try and beat that, but I sometimes am aware that I'm doing it. That I can't go half a minute without checking if someone said something. Why do I care? It becomes addictive. So we've got to be careful there. Cyberbullying. That's a very, very, very important point, especially at your age. You know, when you're older, it upsets you, it hurts you, but you can say, I don't need this, and remove yourself from a WhatsApp group. You can delete Snapchat off your phone. It's no biggie. I lived without Snapchat for 39 years, 40 years. I can live without it. But you guys have your whole community on there, and you feel like you can't get off there. And if you get off it, someone's going to say at school, oh, you're not on Snapchat, what's your problem? Right? You're worried about what people are going to say. But getting off the platform is the only way to protect yourself on social media. Give yourself a break. My mother would always use this phrase, and it helped me so much growing up. Love me, hate me, but never ignore me. If you ignore somebody, they don't know if they've got to you. They don't know if you're upset, if you're sad, if you're hurt, if you're angry, if you don't care. They don't know. And it will bug them more than it will bug you. I promise you, because they're not getting the reaction that they so desperately want. Love me, hate me, but never ignore me. So if somebody is horrible to you, and people can be very, very horrible, ignore them on social media. They will have no idea what's happened. If it continues and it escalates to a point where you feel like you cannot control it, please trust me on this. Your parents want to help you. They may be a pain in your life. You may fight with them daily. You may find your mother and your father so irritating and so uncool. And you may think they don't understand social media because they have no social media themselves and they're like living in the past. But if you have a problem, I promise you, without a shadow of a doubt, your parent wants to help you. They will do anything to protect their child. I can absolutely 100% assure you that they will not ignore you if you go and you say, Mom, I have a problem. I promise you they won't. You may think your mother doesn't listen to you and doesn't understand you at times, but she will hear those words and she will do what it takes to understand and to fix it. And even if you think it's going to be embarrassing, it doesn't matter. There are children who take their lives over cyberbullying. And let me tell you, that will crush any parent. Let them help you. They will help you. Your teachers will help you. Your principal will help you. Your friends will help you. Because the worst that can happen to them is that they lose you. So trust them. I promise you, you are never, ever, ever alone in that situation. And even if it's your best friend who's bullying you, she is no longer your best friend. You may miss her, you may be devastated, but you will get over it and you will find another friend. I promise you that. So look for help when it comes to cyberbullying. But the first and foremost, you get off that platform, even if it's just for a few days, and that bully finds someone else to bully, because they will. Okay? Right. Our safety on social media is extremely important, especially when we are doing something like a beauty pageant. Because people suddenly become very aware of you, and they like you, and they're like, oh, this girl's really pretty, I want to follow her. Not everyone is as they seem on social media. Sometimes they are hiding behind someone else. Now, I always use this as an example when I speak to the Mrs. South Africa ladies. I say to them, would you invite someone into your bedroom that you didn't know? Never, right? Would you invite a stranger to watch you swim in your swimming costume, in your bikini? Would you invite someone into your diary, let them read your diary? Never, right? A stranger, not even a friend, you probably wouldn't. Would you invite someone into your bathroom when you're bathing, in a foam bath, even if you can't see anything? Would you let them watch you? Never. The thought makes you want to be sick, doesn't it? It's scary, it's gross, it's an invasion. But you will post a sexy picture next to the pool in your bikini, sitting like this, and you will put it on Instagram. And you are 13, 14, 15 years old. And you think Caitlin in Cape Town, who follows you and looks really sweet, is really Caitlin. It's not. It's Jeff. A 67-year-old, out of shape, disgusting, sweaty, oily, bald man. I'm sorry to any of those things that actually fit those descriptions I put there, but doesn't that make you feel sick? Right? Protect yourself. You are golden. What you have in your life, inside of you, in your heart, in your body, is precious. You look after yourself. Your parents have taught you, your teachers have taught you, stranger danger. And yet, you'll be scared of that man who's hanging out in the park, but you'll let Caitlin, who you don't know, follow you on Instagram. You will accept someone's friend request because they're interested in beauty pageants, because they follow Lorna or they follow someone else that you know from Mr. South Africa, and you think, oh well, they follow all these people who are in pageants, so they must be okay. They are not. You don't know them. And they are not to be coming into your personal space and knowing your personal business. I do not share my children on Instagram because I have strangers who follow me on Instagram, but what I post on Instagram is very much about business, and it's very seldom is it very personal. It's not personal. I mean, it's very above board. There's nothing that I know that will put me in jeopardy. But when you're young, you don't really understand the dangers that are completely out there for you. So please, please be careful. Unless you know someone personally, they should not be on your profiles. And I know you probably think, but that's not cool. You want to have a big following. You have to know everyone. At this stage of your lives, you have to know who's following you. I get friend requests daily from men. Some of them are really gorgeous, and you look at them and you're like, wow, sure, this guy's gorgeous. Not because I'm interested in him, but because he just is gorgeous and I can't help but look at his photograph. But I realize that that's probably not him. He's probably using some poor model in England's photographs that he's posted on his social media, because it's not hard to copy and paste and save a photograph. So I get this friend request from this guy. He's got nothing on his profile but a couple of gorgeous photographs. So if I was desperate for followers, I may accept his friend request, and then I'm inviting him to look into my personal life. No, thank you. No. Have you heard the expression catfish? Do you know what it means? Scary. You start talking to someone, you fall in love with them. Happens all the time, especially in America. Happened to my brother-in-law, believe it or not. He started talking to this teacher. She was a teacher at a French school. Fell head over heels in love with this girl on social media. She had her page, pictures, not that many, but she had them. They spoke all the time. He was in love with her. Would do anything for her. Then about 3 months later, he hadn't met her yet. 3 months later, he got a message on his Facebook Messenger to say that she had died in a car accident. He was beside himself to the point where we actually thought we had to watch him in case he hurt himself. He was lost without this person. We took him to the hospital that she was apparently taken to. We asked questions. No one had even had an accident. There was no name on the register. We phoned the French school that she taught at. There was no teacher with that name. For 3 months, a business colleague of his, whose relationship had gone sour, had pretended to be this girl. To my brother-in-law, who was 44 years old and smart, clever guy. He's clever, he's not stupid. And he got catfished. And I mean, when she died, he was beside himself, devastated. And it was all a lie, just to hurt him. Be very careful. Know who you are talking to. It's not a joke. It is very serious. If you don't know them, and you wouldn't let them into your personal life, they are not to follow you. If they go and like posts of yours that are public, you block them if you feel weird about them, okay? I'm not saying it just to scare you. Actually, I want you to be scared. It is scary. Protect yourselves. You are perfect, beautiful, young, and have so much ahead of you. Don't get yourselves into trouble. Right. And never, please, agree to meet up with someone alone. My sister found a friend on Mixit, a boy, and they started talking, and they spoke for about 6 months, and he was known to a friend of hers, so she knew he was a legitimate person, and they spoke, and they wanted to meet up, and my mother said to her, she was 17, and my mother said, I'm going with you. And she said, you can't go with me, how embarrassing, Mom. I'm like meeting this guy for coffee, like in Preston, it's the middle of, everyone can see us. My mother said, tough, I'm going. And my mom arrived and sat down with her, and the boy arrived with his mom. She had said the same thing, okay? So the two moms went and had a coffee date. Well, these two had a coffee date. But that is what mothers should be doing. And don't argue with your mother, she is right. Okay. There is a major rule in social media, and there's a wonderful social media lawyer called Emma Sadlia, and she always says this: if you wouldn't put it on a billboard, do not put it on social media. Okay? If you wouldn't put a photo of yourself or a thought about someone else on a billboard for everyone to read, do not put it on social media. What happens one day when you go and get a job, so say you want to study to become a lawyer, you go and you apply for a job at a very big law firm, they have a human rights department, human resources department, who will look into your past. They will search your name, they will search Cathy Heaton. Now, anything, you can search me on Google, there's a lot of pictures. It's embarrassing. But there is nothing that I should be ashamed of. Now, if you have posted a photo, you're 17 years old, maybe you're on matric holiday, you're in a bikini, and you are lying on top of your boyfriend on the beach. And you think, that's okay, I'm in a costume, it's all right, we're 17, we're in love. And you post that. That law firm is going to say, really? That's how she behaves? I don't know, she's wise. She doesn't fit the culture of the company. You've got to be very careful. Your social media footprint is your brand. It tells us everything we need to know about you. What are you willing to post? I have seen the most horrendous posts from high school kids where I've literally felt like my eyes were going to burst out of my head. You will be very surprised what you can get caught up in. Think, use the brain that you've been given. Okay, you're intelligent, be careful. Okay, now I want to talk about a much lighter subject now that you've been scared to have the living daylight scared out of you. But it's important, is it not, Lorna?
Absolutely.
Yes. Hey, it is, guys, they need to know this. It is scary. At the end of the day, all we want is for you to grow up and have a wonderful life. And we have to tell you if you can get yourself into trouble and not be able to achieve that. Right, building your brand. This is exciting. So we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube. Those are our main ones. I don't get Snapchat because I really don't feel like I need to have puppy dog ears on my face. Or big googly eyes. I must say, I've got one friend who takes Snapchat photos all the time and I look really beautiful in them. So it just like makes me into like an 18-year-old gorgeous girl. And I'm like, oh, is that what I need to do? It's so fake. It's so fake. I sometimes worry about the future of our population. You know, if that is really what we want to look like. I don't want to look like a dog who's painting. Rose, I took time to do my makeup today. I don't want to look like a dog who's painting. Who wants to do that? I don't understand it, guys. I mean, maybe it's fun for like once, but to do it over and over again, and there are people my age that are doing it, and I'm like, really? At some point you've got to grow up. But anyway, you do look really gorgeous. I mean, those filters make you look flawless. But there are other ways to take photographs that make you look flawless without having to have dog's ears on your head. So there is an app called FaceTune. Now, there are many, many beauty filters out there. When you take a selfie, I can teach you how to take an amazing selfie because I've really mastered the art of it. When people follow me on Instagram, they're like, oh, you look so amazing, you look so beautiful. And then they meet me in spa, and they're like, really?
It's like, oh no,
Like, really?
She does like the face selfie.
But I can take a really good selfie, even if it's not edited. It's all about light. Okay, so I'll just teach you. When you're facing the light, so the window's open, you stand a little bit away from the light so you're not in the bright light, and you hold your phone as far as you can get, but you get your upper arm out of the photo. You don't want the big arm because then it looks like you've got a big arm. You hold it like this, slightly above your face, tilting your face out. If you've got a double chin, stick it out a little, and give it a smile. If you are not facing the light, you will pick up every shadow and every line, every wrinkle, and no one needs to see that. So, we face the light, you take a nice photo, and you smile. Now, if you have a pimple and you want to edit it out, Facetune. There's a little thing called patch, and it's a little round circle, and you go and you put it on the pimple, and the other little, it's got another circle that branches out, and you put it on the clear skin. It will clone that clear skin onto the pimple. And from this, the pimple has gone. And people are like, wow, you're so lucky, you never get acne. The edited filtered love. Okay, exactly. It's the edited love. We don't show the pimple, we edit it. I don't need to see it. Little things like that I have no problem with. Lighten your teeth, lighten your eyes if your eyes are a little bit red, take out a pimple. If you're older like me, you smooth the wrinkles out a little bit, you guys don't need to do that. But Facetune allows you to make those little tweaks without being fake. There is nothing worse. And we see it all the time here, Lorna, when you see someone who's edited their skin and they're so smooth that their eyes look like this because there's no dimension around their eyes. They look like they're almost flat. And you're like, really? Did you edit that? It's enough. Oh, I look like that. You're right. So don't go crazy with editing. But if there's something that you want to lighten or take out a pimple or whatever, do it. Put your best foot forward. But be real and be authentic. Because what people like is real people. Yes, we aspire to Beyonce and all these other stars that we follow, and they look amazing. But you will notice that most of the stars who have got millions of followers really don't care about editing their face. They will have a professional photo shoot and that will be edited and they look amazing. But they don't care about editing a normal photograph because they get photographed shopping at the grocery store and they can't edit that. So they've had to learn to accept themselves as they are and as the public sees them. And I think it's quite refreshing actually that that started to happen because we like them more because they're more like us. We like people who we can relate to. We don't like people who are untouchable and don't look like they can even relate to us. When we see stars on talk shows, say like Ellen DeGeneres, for instance, who I absolutely adore, I love her, I think she's so amazing. And you see stars on there and they talk about their life, their real life. I was actually watching a program with Jay-Z the other day. And I'm not a big Jay-Z fan, I mean, there's one song I like of his, but I've never been a big, my son will hate me for this because he loves rap, but he's like, Mom, please, you've got one Jay-Z song, you hardly know anything. And I was watching this interview with Jay-Z and I was totally taken aback by him. He actually used to sell drugs as a teenager. He was in a very, very bad area and everyone sold drugs to get by. And he decided that he realized that he was heading either towards jail or to be killed. And he decided not to. His two best friends, one ended up in jail and one ended up dead. And he decided to sing rather. And he went on and he sang. And when he was talking in this interview, he wasn't speaking with confidence about, yeah, I made the right decision with my life and I changed it. He wasn't doing that. His voice was quivering as he was talking. He was nervous. He was nervous to tell his story. And he realized that whilst it had a positive ending, the fact that he sold drugs wasn't a good thing for him. And it was such an amazing thing to see that this person who's got uber celebrity status can feel nervous. It made him real, and it made me like him more. Don't you think that's more authentic? That you actually can relate and say, okay, not that you can relate to his life, but that you can say, wow, this guy's been through tough times, and look what he's done. That's inspirational for me. When they're untouchable and they're all about themselves, they're not. And we have a lot of South African celebrities that are very disingenuous on Facebook. I've got a client who has got 300 and something thousand followers. She's one of the most awful people I know. She's no longer a client, but she's not a nice person. She's really not a nice person. And if you knew the things she said, you would think, why do these 300 and something thousand people follow her and aspire to be like her? I've got other celebrity clients that are amazing, that are wonderful people, and I love to follow them. But it worries me that we follow people that we don't know and we aspire to be like them. If they are not real and not authentic, don't waste your time. Okay? So, when you are building a brand, I want you to remain authentic. I want you to be real. Okay? You don't have to share everything about your life, most certainly not. And I don't want you to. But just be real about it, you know? Just take a photo of your birthday, sitting on the floor, opening your present, and be like, you know, I'm so grateful for my parents for giving me this present, or my best friend for being so cool, or, you know, something that's just normal, that another girl can go, yeah, I have birthdays like that, like low-key, sitting on the floor, you know. We don't need to see your 50-person party that you're having this fancy, you know, dinner in this place. That's pretentious. You can have it once in a while and show it, yes, but be normal too, okay? Be authentic. Sometimes, you know, like I once in the Mrs. South Africa, I was hosting and I kept going to Skin Renewal for these wonderful treatments and wouldn't take a photo of myself with a mask on my face or something like that because I was like, no, I don't want anyone to see me like that. And then I got really, really sick the week of the finals and I ended up on a drip there while I was having a face mask and looking terrible. And I actually took a photo and I said, can you believe the week of the finals, I'm so sick. And people's responses to me were like, oh my word, shame, you know, are you okay? And for some reason they didn't think that I got sick. Like was I some sort of superhuman woman that didn't get sick? And that's how silly social media is. We buy into this whole perfect life and no one has a perfect life, I can assure you. No one. Right, so when you are doing your posts, the things that you need to watch out for that are going to get you into trouble are the following. Bad spelling. Now, I know that sounds really stupid. So what if you left the U out of colour and you spelled it the American way? But in 2 years' time, you're going for an interview, or let's give you a lot more time, 7 years' time, you're going for an interview of varsity, and they look back at your posts and they see you can't spell colour right. And they're like, and she's applied for a journalist position. I don't think so. Okay, watch your spelling. Do not get involved in racist slurs, comments. Don't even like a racist post. Even if you think, angry about whatever has happened to that teacher who, I don't know if you know, there were photos sent around of this teacher last week. There were 3 photos sent around on a WhatsApp group for this class group of grade 1s. And the teacher sent 3 photos. And the children were mingling around the class. In 2 photos, the children are all mixed, all the races. And in one photo, there are 4 black children sitting at a table, and there is a big table of white children. And the mother of one of the black children, who was a journalist, sent it out to newspapers and to social media and said, this school, this teacher is prejudiced. It was on their personal WhatsApp group, but there were 3 photos. She didn't look at the other 2, she only looked at the one. It went around the country. This teacher was suspended. She has been pulled through the mud, this teacher. She has cried and she has said, my career is being ruined by one woman choosing to judge me. And when you first saw the post, everyone was like, how could they do that? I have a black son, I have a white son. I would have been furious. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, if that was my kid, I would have gone ballistic. Unfortunately though, that photograph was shared 100,000 times before we heard the real story. So going back again to finding out what the backstory is before you share something. But I would not like that post. And I would not like the post that followed with the teacher crying and putting her case forward. Just because my brand, my personal brand, and the brands that I'm aligned with wouldn't appreciate my involvement in racial posts. Keep your nose clean. Unless you really have to stand up and stand up for yourself, keep your nose out of it. Okay, that's my best advice. We don't need to get wrapped up in things that don't involve us unless it's of absolute necessity. Then you do stand up for yourself, and I agree with that, and I will support you on that. Prejudice. So there's a boy in your school that dresses like a girl. It has nothing to do with you, firstly. And secondly, if he wants to dress like a girl, and he is proud enough to do it, then good for him. Do not ever think that you are so important that you can take a photograph and mock him, or say something on one of his photographs, or anything about him on a WhatsApp group, on any social media platform. You never, ever, ever do that. You wouldn't want it done to yourself, therefore you never do it to someone else. Treat people like you'd like to be treated, and be respectful. Respectful of differences. We are the same human beings, but we are different. Some of us have black hair, some of us have blonde hair, some of us are short, some of us walk funny, some of us are large, some of us are small. Doesn't matter. We're all here trying to survive, and the sad reality is we're not going to. That's always just such a miserable thing, but we don't. None of us are going to get out of this alive. We are all on this planet to live a beautiful life and allow each other to do that. Okay. Please, nothing sexy. Okay? We don't want to see you kissing your boyfriend on Instagram. No one, if you want to enter Miss South Africa one day and you go and you get a sponsorship, if they see you kissing your boyfriend all over Instagram, they don't want you. I judged a competition recently. It's called Miss Helene. It's the Miss Greek South Africa. Big competition. And before the judging started, the organizers had us look at all their social media pages. The girl that was leading the pack in terms of what she looked like, her social media was very sexy. She's gorgeous. She's 20 years old. She's an adult. She's allowed to kiss her boyfriend if she wants to. But every second photograph was her kissing her boyfriend. She didn't place because of that. We all judged her on her social media. And as unfair as that may seem, it showed us who she is. And we cannot have a role model who is just into that. Okay? Present yourself in a dignified way. Swearing. Oh, guys, I go onto Instagram and I see these youngsters swearing. Worse than has ever come out of my mouth when I've been in my worst mood ever. And that was never public. Anyway, guys, watch your mouths. Would you swear in front of your dad? Eh? But you'll swear on Instagram because your dad isn't on Instagram. But it doesn't take more than a little screenshot sent to a mom who then sends it to your dad for you to get into serious trouble. Okay? Moms, you should be monitoring your social media as well. They're very clever. They have more than one account on Instagram. Sorry for outing you guys. They'll have one account and they'll let you know it. You'll follow it. They will then have two others that you don't know about. The only way you find them is by looking at their friends. So go on to who they follow, go to their friends, look who they follow. You'll find your kids' other accounts there. Okay, we're not so stupid. I know you'd like to think we are, but we're not. All right, no swearing. I am appalled by the swearing I have seen from grade 7 and up. Disgusting. Watch your mouth. Okay. Always represent yourself appropriately on your brand. How you build the brand positively is by being a contributor to your community. It doesn't have to be going to do charity work, although that's always wonderful. And I do a lot of charity work. I always say to my ladies that I mentor, don't go into situations that are dangerous for you. Don't go to places that are dangerous. When you are doing charity work, make sure you're safe. Make sure that's an environment that's safe for you as a young person to go into. Preferably take a parent with you, an adult with you, or go in groups. Okay. I've been in lots of places doing charity work where I really shouldn't have been. I put myself at risk, and that is really silly. And I won't do it anymore. I only go where I believe that I'm safe. You can do things like raising shoebox awareness. You know, at Christmas time when we do the shoeboxes for the children in orphanages, you can do something like that through your school. A community project where you never have to go anywhere dangerous or do anything, but you're doing something. You're collecting dog food, whatever it is, and you get someone to help you deliver it to the place that you need it to go to. Community projects are always a good way to build your brand and let your community know who you are in a very positive way. Then, sorry, what did I do? Oh, this is interesting. I was listening to a podcast about social media and teens, and they were saying, so often we ask our teens, what do you want to do when you grow up? And it's such a difficult question to answer. I had no idea what I wanted to do until I was 26. I did stuff, I worked, I studied, but I didn't really know who I was or what I wanted to do. So I think you evolve over time, so don't set yourself on one thing. But a good way to start to figure out what you want to do in life, and this will boil down to every aspect of your life and also what you post on social media, is what problem would you like to solve in life? What bugs you in life? Does the plight of animals bug you? Children, maybe dolphins, the sea, the fact that people litter all the time? Is there a problem in life? Even communication, how people talk to each other, whatever it is, or that you've come across teachers who don't respond well to you. There's a problem that you want to solve in life. Think about it, because that will help you realize what you actually want to do in life. Because once you realize what bugs you, you then figure out how can I fix that, and that will help lead you in the right path. So with your social media, positive posts, uplifting posts, quotes that make you think nicely of things. How do I present myself in my age appropriately in a nice way and get involved with my community? And those are the way you will grow your brand. So by the time that you are out there wanting to make money from it, people are going to like you and want to invest in you. So I hope that helps. Take it all in, protect yourselves. You're also beautiful. Good luck with the competition. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's Cathy Heaton SA, Cathy with a C, C-A-T-H-Y. My surname is Heat On, like the heat is on. I think it's a good one for me. Cathy Heaton SA. And guys, take care of yourselves and I wish you the best of luck.